Hello and welcome. There's a famous quote that says, "Fiction reveals the truth that reality obscures." And sometimes, stories we think are fiction turn out to be real, horrifyingly real. Recently, you might have seen viral posts on social media claiming that Squid Game was based on a real event, a 1980s massacre in South Korea. And while most of these claims are exaggerated or false, they've accidentally pointed us to something far more disturbing. Not a game, not a show, but a real-life hell called Brothers' Home. Let's rewind to the 1950s. The Korean War had just ended, splitting the nation into North and South, but peace didn't follow. South Korea was left in ruins, its economy shattered, millions dead or displaced, families broken, and cities full of orphans and homeless people. To the South Korean government, these people weren't victims. They were a stain on the nation's image. So in the 1960s, they launched a campaign. Round up the unwanted, homeless people, beggars, street children, anyone undesirable, and send them to welfare facilities. Sounds kind? It wasn't. Police were given money for every person they detained, so they took anyone. No questions asked. Even children walking home from school. Even people with families. Even people with jobs. Once taken, they vanished. No records, no calls, no justice. They were sent to places like Brothers' Home, the largest of 36 such facilities. And inside wasn't care or shelter. It was forced labor, torture, abuse, rape. Let me tell you about Choi Sung-bok. He was 13 years old. Police snatched him from the street while walking with his brother. They claimed he was an orphan, burned his documents, and sent him to Brothers' Home. That very night, they stripped off his clothes, poured cold water over his naked body, and left him to freeze. Later that night, he was raped by his group's commander, another inmate given authority by the staff. This was just day one. Brothers' Home operated like a prison camp. Inmates were divided into platoons. Each platoon had a commander, chosen from among the prisoners. They were given power and used it to control, punish, and abuse others. The system was built on fear. No one could trust anyone. If one person broke a rule, the whole group suffered. Guards encouraged betrayal. They rewarded informants. They destroyed unity on purpose. Why? Because united prisoners could rebel, but a broken, fearful population, they stay silent. Torture became routine. Prisoners were forced to work all day, cutting wood, sewing uniforms, farming. They were starved, beaten, and never paid. One prisoner dared to ask, "Why am I here?" 4 guards wrapped him in a blanket and beat him to death. Others watched. No one could speak. No one could cry. This was normal. Sexual abuse was common. Girls, boys, women, men. No one was spared. Some were taken at night, some during the day. It didn't matter. Their screams were ignored, their pain invisible. You might ask, did anyone try to escape? Yes, many did, but very few succeeded. The compound was surrounded by 7-meter-high walls, just like something out of a dystopian nightmare. The only chance to escape was when prisoners were sent out for labor, like chopping wood in the mountains. But even then, someone would always snitch, someone looking for favor, for less punishment. Survival came at the cost of betrayal. Over 4,000 people were imprisoned at Brothers' Home over 12 years. Most were never charged with any crime. Many never returned to their families. Some died, some went insane, some simply disappeared. The man behind it all, Park In-kyun, the director, got rich from government funding. He spent the money on himself and on drugs used to sedate and control prisoners. He had a torture room in his own office. That's not a rumor, that's a fact. In 1987, prosecutors finally investigated. They found 551 confirmed deaths. Later updates pushed that number to 657, possibly more. So what happened to Park In-kyun? Justice? Not really. He was only charged with corruption, not murder, not torture, not trafficking. He served 2.5 years in prison, then lived the rest of his life freely. He died in 2016 before real justice ever reached him. And what about the victims? They were released back into society, but society didn't want them. People avoided them, feared them, believed they were criminals or unstable or cursed. Many suffered from PTSD. Many ended up in mental institutions. Many took their own lives. They were free, but their minds were still trapped inside that nightmare. A few survivors like Choi Sung-bok kept fighting. They demanded a full investigation. They wanted the world to know the truth, and slowly the truth came out. In 2022, new evidence revealed that Brothers Home had also been involved in human trafficking. Yes, they sold children overseas. They sold bodies of the dead to hospitals, and they buried others in unmarked graves. So next time someone says Squid Game was based on real events, tell them this. No, Brothers Home was not fiction. It was worse, and it was real. There was no prize money, no choice to leave, no second chances, only torture, only silence, only victims who never got the ending they deserved. If you found this story important, please subscribe, because these aren't just stories, they're warnings, and someone has to keep telling them. Thanks for